now we're ready to put on the 40 thousandths strings, 0.040. And I'm going to start with a clear one according to the chart. It'll be the A string. And we'll put it through from the front. Grab the other end. And then we'll put a bead on right away. And then we're going to tie our overhand knot like we have before. But before I pull it tight, I've got a loop here, and I've got about a 2-inch tail. I'm going to push that tail back into the loop and then tighten it like that. So I have a half of a bow knot, and all it is this tail has been pushed back in. It's just to make the knot bulkier. The thinner this material, the more likely it is to pull through the hole in this in the bead, and so this makes a real nice bulky knot. Sometimes I squish the bow a little bit, kink it a little bit, so it doesn't pop back out. Now I can pull this tight against the inside of the soundboard, and then put a little drop of super glue. And put it back in. Okay? So we'll put this down on the floor. Thread the other end through the next pin. And the procedure is the same. I have a little bit of slack here. See? Start turning, guide the windings toward the wood, and then I hold the string outward so that it crosses over at least one wrap of string as I tighten the last bit. So this string has been not only pushed through the hole in the pin, but it's the windings have been crossed around the outside, and that's really cinches it. Going to install the 0.036 or 36 thousandth strings, and they're getting a little thinner as we go up the harp. This is a blue one that I'm starting with, and you may notice in the coloring of the strings that there's some faded parts. It's really not faded, it's just that when we dye these, we bundle a bunch of them together and tie them in a spot, and then the dye doesn't penetrate very well at that spot. So what I do to get the most color in my string is I'll poke it through here, or put a bead on, and then I'll find where the faded part ends and tie my knot there. So I've tied my knot way in here, away from the end of the string, and I can clip off the excess. Here we know we got more string than we need, and so it's pretty easy to do this. Then I'll push the end of the string back in the knot just as I did before. So we have the half bow. And pull it tight. Bring it back out and put a drop of super glue on it. And then we're ready to install it at the top. I have a little slack below the pin like this. turn clockwise, guiding the string windings toward the wood. And then when I get at least one wrap, I'll hold the excess outward a little bit so it crosses right here. Just as we've done on all the others. Then I can clip off the excess. Now when you get, on this particular harp, when you get up to the 36,000 strings, you may find that one length of nylon will work for 2 strings. And that's fine. What I do then is I poke both ends into the next 2 holes, tie a knot and put the bead on, and then I clip it at the midpoint after I've got them installed. It's a little easier that way than dealing with a shorter string. I'll show you here. This string is long enough to do 2, so I'll put the one end in, tie my knot, make a bow out of it, hold tight, add super glue, and then instead of threading through the up with the pin there, I'm just going to put this other end through the next hole, put a bead on it, tie a knot, make a bow out of it, hold tight, and put super glue on it. Now, when I put the harp down, I've got 2 strings, and they're just long enough. So you want them to be a little further than the pins. So I cut them in half like that, and I will string it through here. Here I've got about the right amount of slack below the pin, and there's still a tail of about 2 inches that'll get cut off.